Hello to all of you from the new day of the Daily Map Report. Today, we are here with the developments on the last day of the Russia-Ukraine war. In a moment, we will analyze the latest developments together with the map. According to the latest reports, the Ukrainian army continues its counteroffensive operations in 3 parts of the front line. As you can imagine, there seem to be some gains of the Ukrainian army on the Zaporijya front line. According to the latest reports, counteroffensive operations have slowed down. We have shared the reasons for this with you in our previous reports. Both armies are making preparations due to the approaching winter conditions. However, some sources close to Russia call this situation as the failure of the counterattack. Ukrainian sources are determined. However, Ukrainian sources do not want those who support them to be in the dock. So, what is the latest situation on the front line? Let's take a look at the latest developments together. As the Pioneer team, we continue to prepare and convey our report on the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. I will also be pleased if you express your opinion about our content in the comments. Let's start if you're ready. The Pioneer reports. Let's start with the latest situation on the Zaporijya front line. As you know, the attacks of the Ukrainian army are concentrated in the Roboty section of the Zaporijya front line. In this region, the Ukrainian army had made many gains. The Ukrainian army, which carries out attacks in increase these gains, is about to reach Roboty. Now let's look at the Roboty region from a wide angle on the map. Let's analyze the latest situation here with the timeline. When we look at it temporally, we see that these areas of dominance of the Ukrainian army have clearly increased in the last week. One of these areas is the center of Roboty. The Ukrainian army has almost completely taken control here. This dominance increases the Ukrainian army's maneuverability in this region. According to the latest reports from local sources, Russian troops are trapped in the outskirts south of Roboty. There is not much time left for the Russian troops to leave Roboty. We believe that in a very short time, Russian troops will completely withdraw from Roboty. The Ukrainian artillery units continue their operations to accelerate this process. There is intense artillery activity, especially in the Roboty area. Russian troops are struggling not to leave Roboty despite all their losses. However, this struggle has no future, because we have already mentioned before. The goal of many commanders in the Russian army is to raise their positions even higher. The method that they have found to increase their position is quite interesting. Russian commanders aim to be appointed to higher positions by achieving a great and impossible success. But this is destroying the Russian army, because Russian commanders sacrifice Russian soldiers for these goals. There is a similar situation in the Roboty region. Russian troops are unlikely to win a victory here for the time being. I mean, the Roboty area and the Russian commanders are aware of this. So, if we talk about the probability of the success, we can say that this is less than 3%. But the Russian commanders are taking a gamble in this area. This gamble is played on winning the success with a probability of less than 3%. In these cases, Russian troops are destroyed. The Russian war leadership does not impose any sanctions on these commanders, leading to the destruction of more Russian soldiers. As long as this process continues here, more Russian soldiers will be destroyed. We will follow how long Russian commanders will sacrifice Russian soldiers for the sake of their own future. When we look at the Novoprokopivka, we see that the Ukrainian troops have increased their attacks again. According to the latest reports, Ukrainian troops have expanded their counteroffensive operations on the outskirts of Novoprokopivka. We can say that the Ukrainian troops are very close to the victory in this region. Only a very small area is dominated by the Russian troops. When we look at the timeline, we can clearly see the areas where the Russian troops have retreated and the areas where the Ukrainian troops have established their dominance. Ukrainian troops are also advancing on the Verbov line, which is in the line with Novoprokopivka. According to the latest reports, the Ukrainian army, which has overcome the Dragon Teeth, is very close to the Verbov center. Russian positions in Verbov are being regularly shelled by the Ukrainian artillery. Ukrainian troops are also trying to extend their offensive through Novofedorovka. If the Ukrainian army is able to expand in the front here, the center of the Verbov will come under the control of the Ukrainian army in a shorter period of time. This will accelerate the advances of the Ukrainian troops. Let us conclude the section on Zaporijya by mentioning the artillery duels in this region. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery shelled the Ukrainian positions on Novodanilovka and Mailinka-Tokmakcha. In turn, Ukrainian troops hit Russian positions in Kopani, Ichenko, and Novoprokopovka. Let's continue our report with the Donetsk front line. Russian troops continue their traditional Mariinka offensive today. Russian troops did not achieve any gain and results in Mariinka offensive. In the Krasnohorivka region, it is claimed that the Ukrainian troops made a tactical retreat. However, this information has not been confirmed at the moment. If this claim is true, the Ukrainian army may brought the Russian army closer to itself to wear it down. Because as you know, the Ukrainian army has tried this strategy before and succeeded. Therefore, we can say that the Ukrainian troops are applying the strategy again. Artillery duels on the Donetsk front line are also continuing. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery shelled the Ukrainian positions west of Mariinka. Ukrainian troops in turn targeted Russian positions in Horlivka. Let's continue with the Bakhmut front line. As you know, the initiative south of the Bakhmut front line is now in the hands of the Ukrainian army. The Ukrainian army wants to seize the city center of Bakhmut by making use of this initiative. In recent days, Russian troops stationed in the region have been pursuing the Ukrainian army to withdraw from the region. However, the defense forces of the Ukrainian army have not withdrawn in any way so far. Russian attacks in the region were successfully repelled. We have already mentioned that activity has started in the north of Bakhmut city center. According to the latest reports, Russian troops launched an offensive in the direction of Berkhivka, north of Bakhmut. The aim of this attack was to advance southwest of Berkhivka. However, they did not succeed. Ukrainian troops managed to repel the Russian offensive. Artillery duels are also continuing on the Bakhmut front line. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery hit Ukrainian positions in Orkhovo-Vasilivka, Klishchivka, Iwanisky, and Bodanivka. On the other hand, Ukrainian artillery struck Russian positions in Ozarinivka, Kordomoivka, and the city center of Bakhmut. What do you think? Do you think the Ukrainian army will continue its advance? What do you think about the tactical retreats of the Ukrainian army? Are Russian commanders sacrificing Russian soldiers for their own future? How does this situation affect the future of the war? Mention it in the comments. I read and care about all your comments.